Just gonna let it play out. Give him one more.
Let's rock. We got to rock.
Let's go.
Let's go. I just got a guard. That's why I put it over there because it's really dry. Oh, this one over there too. You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
We up online at least.
Yep, on the rock. They don't think we ain't here. Welcome back, Jackson, Mississippi, and these United States to Make It Make Sense Jackson, the fastest growing show in Mississippi. I am your honored host, Tariq Abdul-Tawwab, along with my esteemed co-host, a.k.a. KP, a.k.a. Young Man, so you can differentiate between the young man and my producer, a.k.a. Mr. Wilson, sitting across from us, who gets all of this going every day for you. I'm sorry we were late. Unfortunately, outside we were intercepted by some gentlemen that offered us a lot of money to stop telling you all the truth. Never that. I'm joking.
Yeah, me back. I didn't want to.
KP was gonna back that up. I'm laughing because it comes in different ways, but no. We just we had a lot happening. Life today, you all. But you know that would never happen with us. Even though I'm not gonna tell you folks don't try. Stopping the truth is not something that we plan to do, but we do apologize for having you waiting. Shout out to my Lyft driver. I had to lift in today. My brother got me here, and I didn't even think that was going to happen. So big shout out to my Lyft driver. And he also gave me a little bit of, he changed my whole direction of the show. And talking to the people when you're on the way in here, and that's one beautiful thing about when I take Lyft or Uber, right? And like I told you, we down to one car now. You know, I got a lot of kids, so Lyft and Uber has become my new friend. But I get to talk to the people every day, and 99.99% talk to them when I say, man, what do you think about what's going on, man? We're going to talk a little bit about that. He said to me, you know, one thing that just touched me was, he was talking about the presidential race, right? And he said, well, when you think about Jackson, this is the way I look at it. He said, in the presidential race, a lot of people didn't know that there were more than two people running. A lot of people thought that it was Kamala versus Trump. He said a lot of people found out there were 11 people running and were shocked. Because the only thing the media showed, the only thing that the media paid any attention to were those two. So if the only access you have, and in the South, this is what happens, it's loss of information that stops us every time, right? So if that information is being kept from you, and we were likening that to Jackson. To Mayor Horn being elected in office, the North Side Sun presenting things a certain way, the FBI case being put at a very opportune time, the media running only, WLBT specifically, just running only negative angles, WABT and others right behind them, and not one reporter questioning the timeliness of the charges, nothing of that nature. And then you add to that, not one black politician really standing up with any backbone just to question what was happening in Jackson, not necessarily standing up for the person being charged, but questioning the resources of Jackson being attacked through charging this person, right? None of that happened. I think that it was a perfect parallel, my brother. I appreciate you if you're listening, both for getting me here and for giving me that parallel. This was a brother that has been through a lot, watched a lot happen here. And that was just the truth. I mean, when the people all give you only one option to see, and you remember that woman that called in KP right after the elections, and we were talking maybe a month or two after, and she got bothered and she said, why didn't I know this? You remember, because it was a turning point for you, yeah. She said that KP was bothered after that because she said, I would have, and she paused. And KP and I, in the context of that conversation, and Andy both all knew she was about to say I wouldn't have voted for who I voted for. We'll just leave it there. That's how we started this show. Our progress to the top was by finding that people didn't know, that people were given a certain narrative. And unfortunately, believing that narrative is where the pain came from, not the refusal to go out and vote and to stand up for their city, but the belief in that narrative. You know, the change was coming behind this current administration versus what actually has happened.
I want to say, what was the pull of belief system that draw them to not wanting to vote for the movement?
That's crazy. Like you were in the cab with me, and I haven't had time to talk to KP. We both just touched down, but I asked him that. I said, why do you think? And he said the media. He said the media vilified him so much that even those who didn't think, as he said, some people thought it would actually bring change, just in ignorance of what, what the change was going to be, right? Which is what we're experiencing now. We're not insulting people. The beautiful thing is we're in the here and now, so we know what happened. We don't have to guess, right? So it was the part of us that were ignorant, that didn't know that Horn had specific plans that we're seeing unfold now, right? Then he said it's the part that believed the media narrative that he was going to do time anyhow, so much that they saw no benefit. They thought there was nothing to pull them. He just talked about people he knows and talked to. But that they just saw, it took the life out of them because, I'm voting for somebody that's just going to be forced into jail even though I think that they could defend us. So, either way, I'm going to lose. And so that motivation from a lot of people he's talking about, it took the wind out of them. And then we had talk about folks twerking and not showing up too, brother. I said I was going to repeat that. And he's right. Some folks, I guess, that whatever reason you didn't show up, I hope twerking was one of them. But he knows the inside lip joke. But he was just talking about the different reasons people didn't show up, but he said that he believes that it's the media portrayal. It's the media and the silence of our local politicians and our local leaders. Because when I say silence, understand, when you have something like that happen and no one even speaks up to say, okay, you know what? I don't like him either. Whatever you think, you think. But I think they're trying to steal all of our researces by getting them out, so beware of who comes next.
There was no counter method.
There was no counter method. There was no counter candidate, but folks knew. Senator Horn said a year before he came into office, and it's an article, and I tell you all these things a lot of times, not to beat up, but to give you information. Google it when I say it, and the article pulls right up. It's an article where he said, as a senator, he accused the Republicans of hollowing out Jackson. And I'll just leave it there. You could take much more from that, right?
Who said that?
And then Senator Horn, current Mayor Horn, he accused the Republicans of trying to hollow out Jackson by taking over the water, taking over everything. So if we give him the biggest benefit of the doubt, that he didn't come in here planned to give away all of our resources, right? He's just doing it, right? All of our cash gaining resources, let me say that, right? He's just doing it. Then at worst, he knew that the Republicans were trying to take everything over. So there's no one that even said when the previous administration was under scrutiny, hey, heads up, Jackson. Even if they get there, you better beware because they're coming for all of our resources. That's probably why they're coming at this time. That just lets you know that either folks were going along with it, meaning they saw some benefit themselves, some money in their pocket with the previous administration gone, or they just believed, that they shouldn't share with the people because the people weren't smart enough to intake it. But that was his response, and I think that's echoed with a lot of people in the city I talked to.
That made him call us fickle and uneducated because they were trying to hollow out the city.
Yes, and you're going to stick with that comment, isn't it? That's not, please be adults here, guys. I tell my daughters I always tell her, don't, that's mean, right? When she's talking to her cousin, her best friend in the world, right? I tell her, that's mean, right? But we're adults. To say something that actually happened is not mean. To say your cousin might have done something that they don't want to keep reliving is mean. But to say so, when Mayor Horn called the Jackson voters fickle and uneducated, I personally don't have a problem with that. I more have a problem with us putting him in office because I think that he gambled on dice that hit. I'll just leave it there. I don't need to rub it in because we're all feeling it, but he gambled on dice that hit. So, I guess my problem is that we fell for it, not that he rolled them. I hope that answers your question, KP, as far as to how he looked at it. But yeah, this is.
Now you know.
Yeah.
He be with Triplet, he be with Lynn, he be with Gibson.
I got something. It takes me a moment to realize the young guys, when they're coming in with some music, right? I was like, who's with who? Hold on, okay. And that's a reference to KP's love of hip hop, right? But yeah, they do. It's me. But I think that the main thing that we talked about in that cab, KP, and I think what we're going to merge into, one of the main things that our producer and I were talking about at KP before this was this bond payment, right? Because we've got to start putting our eyes on what's happening and start to understand how we can move against it. You're on the Facebook page. Please jump on. We're streaming live there now. Make it make sense, Jackson, JXN. But that's also where a lot of the resistance and the planning comes from. You heard early in the show, those of you all that been listening for a year, folks would say, well, what's the solution? You telling us what everybody's doing. A lot of those folks later, you could kind of see that they were upset because they had some type of involvement or benefit from what folks were doing. And as those folks started to clear out, as the folks blaming the kids for their problems started to clear out, then the rest of us started to show up at city council meetings, started to retell what councilmen were doing in our community, sitting on cars, harassing people. It's the community that started to repost. Brother Jeremy showed up at city council and spoke up, and he was on his public, so folks saw him. I don't out people, but he's very open with it. And he started to show things that people for a long time were afraid to show. People were afraid to put a councilman on video harassing neighbors, threatening an ordinance be pulled forward to go up against a neighbor who didn't move something they wanted moved. This brother got out there and not only stood up in city council, but then started taking video and holding folks accountable. And so when you heard this brother say to us, well, what's the solution? We're the solution. Stop looking for someone else to come save us. And we're saving ourselves right now. You either can jump on that wagon or go ahead and take that left. But I think that we're on this wagon together.
You know, he spoke out about the rate increase. You know, he said, in quotations, he says, Jackson families are already carrying a heavy load, and that is why I oppose this 12% rate increase. Horn said in the statement, at the same time, we cannot and will not allow our city to default on the water bill. My responsibility is to protect residents from unnecessary hardship, keeping our system solid and honest about what we owe.
And we've got to be honest about somebody that's just abusing us at this point. I'm going to cause the hardships. Make snap decision to cause the hardships immediately, and then turn around and write and say, I don't want to cause them hardship. So when you look at the bond, you understand that it's an exchange that we saw, not an exchange of hands we saw exchanging, but exchange by action. We saw Mayor Horn. I saw absolutely zillion. Thank God for 2026. We're not in 1915, right? Because we've got to be honest. We saw Mayor Horn put up no real effort to stop the rate increase. I'm not talking about, you can't give an article to WLBT saying, saying we don't need to go up. You can't do that. I mean, you got a previous administration that got censored and pulled up in front of Judge Wingate for trying to give filters to people and talk about the water, saying I don't believe it's fully safe. Willing to go that far and Google it.
Restrictions from all the money that Horn got now.
Your previous administration went as far as to try to protect you. That Wingate pulled him into court and said, "You giving out filters to pregnant women?"
Dang.
And you talking about the water may not be safe to drink? Who are you to say that? Now we've got a mayor, and that's the contrast. And I don't know how you thought you would leave that contrast, but you got to face it. You're going to have to live with that contrast. And so you create the problem and then go in the newspaper. This is a narrative shift. And if we catch this, people, we're good in Mississippi. I promise you. We're going to go through pain to get there. But if you catch when they throw the rock and hide the hand and try to shift the narrative, next thing you know, he's in front of the whole world with a kunte kente cloth on, talking about, well, I was the person that led this Kwanzaa thing. We're down here fighting for, but no, you're the one that caused these problems. You came and immediately gave away everything the previous administrations fought to hold on to. Not administrations.
It's not hard.
Fought to hold on to the land around the airport. Fought to hold on to autonomy over the water. Fought to hold on to our schools. And each one of those you either provided absolutely zero assistance in, or you and your help yourself handed over. So when you look at the bond, so you put up no resistance against Hennepin and Wingate. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you go with Hennepin to beg for more money from DC, right, without giving your city. And if you don't like this, it's only because you don't like the truth. And I mean that. This is what happened to us. You gave us no indication of where the first, 150 million went? Then you went with him to ask for more. Never asked for one penny to help your residents on the billing relief. Even though we're screaming, elderly are screaming. I got people calling into our show with parents that are 92, 93 years old. Last show, we had 2 residents from Jackson. They're calling, putting their voices out there. 92 to 94 years old. I bet there's no way I use that much water. You know what? Pay me. Blank you, pay me. This is what our elderly being told. Remember the sister that called in, got 1 sink working, $1,000 bill? Blank you, pay me is what she was told.
She was disabled too.
Yeah, she was disabled. So that's what's happening to our residents. No resistance being put forward, right? So then Hennepin then turns around after the water rate increase goes through with no resistance from our mayor or city council. And if you look at our Facebook page, and you need to tell your friends if they ask what's happening in Jackson, please at least direct them to our Facebook page. Because we putting up petitions, we showing up at city council. And when I say we, I mean our audience and us, right? So go look on there and you'll see some attention being paid to it. But then the rate increase goes through, right? Wingate, the Reagan appointed judge who gave Hennepin all the power, then spits in our face further by the one little place, because now he gave all that power to Hennepin, he can't take it back. Now the one small place this Negro can help us, and he refuses to. You wouldn't have gone to jail. This is not 1915. All you had to do was say no. Figure out another way. You got nearly $1 billion. I'm not putting it on the people that can't even have their bills explained in the first place. Instead, he said you got to have a place they can go pay the bill. I'm going to let you keep doing what you're doing to them. You got to start saying this. Stop being okay letting other people be comfortable while you suffer. An African-American Reagan-appointed judge, Judge Henry Wingate, who had one opportunity to give us some relief from the archaic contract he signed with Hennepin, which says Hennepin has the authority that usually the Public Service Commission has Do you understand what type of oversight that removed from us, Wingate? And then you had the chance, not to add insult to injury, to go ahead and to at least decline another $20 million out of our pockets per year. And you gave that $20 million to them. So what's the exchange? So as soon as Horn puts up no resistance in the city council, I'm going to put you all in the same bus to us. As soon as Horn and the city council in their little short bus, with Tina Fey questioning every move, well, at least give her that, questioning every turn they take. Well, why are you turning that way? She's still on the bus, but she's questioning why they're going that way. The rest of them just driving along with Horn. So you put no resistance up to our water increase, and then Ted turns around and says Jackson Water will cover that $1 million plus in bond.
So then, explain that one more time. How does that work?
So the city owed a bond payment, which a lot of people are seeing flowing through the news, right? And Jackson Water, we've got to cover that payment, and the city has to cover it, right? So because before there was a third party agreement, obviously the city was over all these things. Well, I think 1.4 million,
1.5,
1.5 million, right?
Loan as a security.
Yes. So that was on a highlight, and Mayor Horn said after the city got beat down and Hennepin got another $20 million per year through us and through the increase. Mayor Horn then turned around and said, we're going to pay our bond payment so that the city's not in debt. Now, what he's saying there, understand first off, is that trade was okay by me as long as the city's not in debt. Because what I'm worried about is how I look as the mayor, and this is just by his actions, how I look as the mayor and what I'm doing under my tenure. I'm removing debt. Even if I'm removing debt from the city and adding $20 million onto your shoulders. Now, once he did that, Hennepin turned around and said, well, I'll pay it for you, Johnny. We're friends again.
That's a sign.
This is what you have. I'm telling you what's happening. Go Google it. Mayor Horn said, I thought Ted and I were friends.
Hold up. It's
I mean, I know you may have to help me here because you know I get.
It's a lot of stuff going on because I don't understand how the sanitation.
Pause for a second. 601, because the people need to call in and jump in because they're 601-948-5950. We don't have as much time, but we got to unpack this. Call in if you want to jump in and help with this understanding. 601-948-5950. We're talking about the recent, what seems to be an exchange where Mayor Horn and the city council put up little resistance to the water increase. Once they increased and agreed to pay their bill, the $1.5 million bond bill, as soon as the resistance was not put up and the Jackson residents got an increase to their bill, Jackson Water and Ted Hennepin then turned around and said, don't worry about it, city council, since what it looks like to us here, we're saying this part, since you didn't put up any resistance to this extra $20 million I'm going to get from these Jackson residents, who, by the way, have a culture of not paying their bill. So all of a sudden, they're going to pay that $20 million, but they have a culture of not paying their bill. But you believe that you can get that $20 million from them. Make that make sense, Jackson.
They don't get it.
Let's Paul. How do you have a culture of not paying your bill, but I know I'm going to get that $20 million from them?
A year.
A year.
The culture.
It got to be one or the other. If they're not going to pay their bill, then how are you so sure that that's an answer to the problem? So no resistance is put up again. Let's not lose focus. At one point, Mayor Horn said, I thought me and Ted were friends. Maybe we're not because something didn't go his way. It appears to us they're friends again. And in that friendship, Ted and Jackson Water got an additional $20 million per year. Mayor Horn got his debt paid off, and the city council got that $1.5 million paid off, and we got sold up, you know what's creek. And the exchange was they get $20 million per year for life, for all sakes and purposes, and Johnny Boy and the city council got $1.5 million paid off, and we got stuck with a $20 million a year
You can say
tab.
that out loud.
I mean, they
I
can.
will.
Oh my God.
Okay, make sense. Call you on there.
Yes, I was listening to you on yesterday. You have quite a good show going on today. But the thing I was interested in, not saying that everything is good, but everything is good for some, but bad for others. The lady on the radio station, right after you got off, was crying on the TV, elderly lady, talking about her water going to be cut off. She never had it turned on. And we're volunteering to help the seniors, and as a senior that they had on national TV just crying.
Yes, sir.
Slap in the face. First of all, they're not doing nothing to help. And when there was no money, nobody
Hold up.
was help. But as soon as we got money
Yes, sir.
from other areas, as the nation started looking at Jackson, Mississippi, as a third world country, they started pouring money in it. Then they brought people in that stripped the money away from Jackson.
That's right.
They fired the people that was in the process and running the water department. They didn't want them in there. See, a lot of things. Now, if we start doing something something and they see where money's coming in, they come in to take it.
Yes,
they
sir.
put people in position to take what's been given to Jackson and then tell us they got a $9 increase. If you watch the news, a $9 increase across the city of Jackson. Now, what's going on with this? Are we just sit down? The mayor came on and talked about what this will do to help.
Look,
what have you helped
they
in the
never
past?
paid the sanitation back to the city. That was more than $1 million.
He was able to do something and call shots. All those years, and then you have a judge that's there, and he's saying this is what judge has said he's going to do. See, a lot of things just frustrate me because these senior citizens, she said she's been here all her life.
That's right.
She has paid her dues in Jackson, and now you're going to turn her water off. Now, KP, you know, we talked about, I said we were going to do something about it. I would like her address. I would like to go to her house. I would like to give her house a thorough inspection to see if the meter is right and see what's running the water up. You have something open, she's going to have a high bill. It could be something simple. It could be a flapper. They're not interested in you fixing it. On Flagstaff Road, the house burned down, and the apartment complex called telling me about water. The water was running from the house that burned down. How long has it been going on? 2 weeks. It's still running down the street on Flagstaff.
That's right.
Now they can do something about that. They're just water running all the streets all over the place. And they won't supposed to have mosquitoes and everything around that place. So they're not trying to help us as far as I can see. Maybe I'm blind.
No. You hitting it right on the bed, my brother. And first off, we appreciate this community member because this is the community member that's a licensed plumber and beyond and has offered to help these folks. So, listener, and my brother, I appreciate you, and we're going to stay in contact. I'm going to give a shout out right now to have her call us. I found the interview, and I'm going to say this community member reached out and gave us some of this information. I found the interview, and I just posted it on our Facebook page. So if anybody knows this sister, please tell her to reach out to us on our Facebook page. And just send a message, and we'll reach out to her so we can get this brother to go out there and see what's wrong with her service. But thank you, brother. We appreciate you. You got them coming in hot, KP.
Well, it makes sense, call Leo there.
Yeah, hey, look, this is California again out here now. So, and I listen to you guys, man. And
Yes, sir.
Pardon?
No, I'm saying yes, sir. It's good to hear you, brother. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Okay, but you know, it just, and I don't know, it just seems so crazy that they can sell you a product that you can't use, or not sell you a product that you can't use, but they're charging you for a product that you can't use. And, you know, I've been to Mississippi and seen that water.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I don't know how Mississippi stands, you know, in terms of comparing to other states as far as their water. Our water out here in California, we don't have that problem. Now, you know, the water may not be good as the spring water out of the bottle, but it's not yellow. It's not stinking. You know.
Well, the problem is that you're in a much freer state, my brother. What we need is your help in California, bringing awareness that here in Mississippi, we have plantation Democrats in office. So when you ask what's happening, and I pray, my brother, you listen to us because we don't do rumors here. We don't talk about personal lives. Every single thing that comes out of our mouth is something you can Google and will pull up in a newspaper article. So when I'm telling you, my brother, in California, the problem is that the administration and politicians in Mississippi are, a good majority of them, and we're pointing out Jackson, let's stick to Jackson, are working with Accelerate Mississippi. We're giving you exactly who they're sitting in. We told you about the chief of staff, Ms. Northington, that came over from the Mississippi Economic Council, who built up Accelerate Mississippi. And then Accelerate Mississippi is going to get to use all of those children who can now work at 14 because Mayor Horn's administration lowered the working age of our babies down to 14 instead of fighting for our schools. We're telling the world, and I love you because you're listening and you're listening, but we're screaming to the rest of the United States that when you see us sit in court, and whether it's Gibbs, and I'm talking about the one that's the senator, or whether he's the sitting, the councilperson, and not councilperson, these are people that represented. The elder Gibbs is part of the administration, and the younger Gibbs is an elected politician. When we yell out these names, whether it's Benny Thompson, whether it's Zakiya Summers in our area, and we haven't yelled at anything, but when we yell out what they're doing here, brother, they're the ones handing over the keys or keeping us protected. So when you ask outside of Jackson and outside of the Delta, what the heck is going on down there? The white supremacy has existed since its inception. This is where they sent slaves to be broken. We've got to stop repeating history. Not saying you're doing this. From 65, as if we haven't learned that much in the last 40 years. What's happening in Mississippi that has the most elected black representation in the United States. It's what it looks like, my brother. Those elected are doing nothing. So even if the state of Mississippi says, Jackson, we owe you 100, we only gonna give you 10, they won't let the masses in West and South Jackson get a penny of that.
Yes.
That's the problem. Jackson has is number 8, and I'm gonna be quiet, is number 8 on the list of black millionaires. Go ahead, my brother. Close us out. We got another caller behind you.
Okay, I was just going to say, I just made a statement at a ceremony that I was at the other night. And my statement was this. If you're sitting there, and you're trying to fight, and make things better, it's all good. But if you're sitting there silent, then you are part of the problem.
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll say that, in terms of
Yes,
some
sir.
people that just don't even say anything. They don't vote. So I really.
My brother, and I'll say this to wrap that up. Let me say this with you. I'm going to keep you here while I'm saying it, my brother. You know what my Lyft driver said? He came in here, very intelligent man. He said, I used to drive the mayor around before, right? Just in his job, in the cab industry. So this is no one specific. He said, he's such a smart man. I was looking at Stokes' background, when he went to Thurgood Marshall Law School, such a smart man. I think the way we hurt Mississippians, black, especially those fighting poverty, is when we pretend these aren't smart men. And women. And when we say things like, the ones that haven't been trying, brother, if you've been there 40 years, I come from Verizon. If I was at Verizon for 4 years and not making gold, I'd be gone. Brother, it is impossible for us to be intelligent and not monkeys, not inferior by nature, and for black folk to be in office this long and we don't get nothing done. For these children, we have got to assume that if you've been there that long and nothing's been done, that's the problem. But we appreciate you, my brother. We got one more behind you we've got to take.
Yes, my name is Linda, and I'm a resident of Jackson.
Hey, Miss Linda.
Hello?
No, I was just saying, hey there, Miss Linda. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm just kind of baffled by the city council listening to what you're saying, them going along with it. Because what it amounts to is all of us that pay our bills and have been paying our bills have been handed a hand to say, now you're going to pay for everybody else.
I don't even think it's that, and I think you're right. I just lost a second vehicle for paying a bill. I have no idea how it got there. But I think that that's the symptom, my sister. I think the root of the problem is, why are you saying that a whole city has a culture of not paying bills? Let me ask you this, sister. You explain it to me. What bill do you have right now? And I mean your cell phone, your cable, your internet, your mortgage. What bill, and I want you to tell me, you don't have to say the company, just the utility type, that if you didn't pay the bill for 3 years, you wouldn't be cut off.
Oh, I don't have one.
No, what I'm asking you, no, listen to what I'm asking. What company do you know that will let you use their product for 3 years without paying and not cut you off? I'll wait.
Well, that's what I guess I'm trying to say myself. There's no company that would do that.
So, let me say this. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And when I read about, and I keep hearing about people not paying their bills,
They never got them.
Don't let me pay.
They never got the bill.
But what I'm telling you is some of these people never got a bill. I know we all know people that are trying to steal water, steal electricity in every community. That's not race connected. But what I'm trying to tell you, my sister, is how did they get a bill and not pay it for 3 years without getting cut off? They never got a bill. And then when they got the bill, the majority couldn't get the bill explained to them.
Let me say this to you along that line.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't get a bill for 6 months, but I know what my garbage is at the time that happened. I knew what my sewage bill was.
Okay.
What I didn't know was what the water was.
That's right.
So every month I went to the water company and paid those bills.
Okay.
So I'm saying.
Hold on, but stop there. No. Let me address that, please, sister. I'm going to keep you here with me. So we have had on this air, so my audience can be a witness. We've had call after call after call, because I can't let these folks be disrespected, of sisters and brothers in Jackson up to the age of 94 that have said, I'm using one sink. I paid what I thought I owed just like you did, sister. And once their bill came, it was triple what they were used to paying, and they just did not have the money to pay triple their bill for 6 months. How is a 94-year-old that's on a fixed income that gets this used to paying $30 a month and now their bill's $100 a month, but they had 6 months, and a woman sat on there and said they told me to pay $1,000 or lose my service.
Yeah.
So let's look at the fact that once the bills came, they weren't right. That's all I'm saying, my sister.
Right. But I just, the thing that really upset me, though, is how I feel like I just been sold down the river.
You have, man.
You have. You're smart. You're intelligent. Yeah. And even if we didn't catch it during the play, when the Northside Sun was telling folks to vote for John Horn, when they were trying to get the previous administration out there, you didn't have to vote for him, just not vote for the person that was going to do this. You know, we were bamboozled to a degree, and some of it's on us. So now what do we do going forward? You sound like a sister that is knowledgeable about what's happening in Jackson. So just continue to listen, my sister. We got one more coming in here. I'm sorry.
Welcome to Make Sense. Call you on there.
I forgot we started so late. No, can it make any sense? Call you on the air. Just waiting too long. Welcome to Make It Make Sense. Call you on the air.
Yes, I'm calling because I'm trying to make it make sense. I pay my bill every month with the water company. Never miss a month of paying, and I received the bill for $1,000.
There we go.
Yep, you're not alone.
Yeah, no, you're not alone, man. I appreciate you giving your testimony. That's the problem with folks saying, well, I'm being held accountable for people that didn't pay their bill. How are you going to pay a bill that's $1,000 and then it's 6 months of that? And you're not being explained as to why your bill is that high.
Exactly.
It's extortion.
And so the caller that just called, I don't think she understands that they generate those bills. You keep telling her and explaining to her that the meters were never connected. And if the meters were never connected, how did they generate a bill? Because
That's right.
it wasn't the people fault that they didn't get a bill.
That's right. That's right. And yes.
And my bill went from $34 to $1,000 bill that I received in the mix that I wouldn't have never been able to get it fixed if I hadn't put a lawyer on him and called your show, make it make sense to find out about Mississippi Public Commission to file a complaint on that.
And you were able to file it, weren't you?
I was able to file the complaint. They were able to take my I was able to dispute the claim and
That's the blueprint.
went away and my bill went back to $34 and I live in Byron, Mississippi. But I'm on Jackson Water. So they are generating those people bills.
Well, they'll tell you they.
Thank you so much, sis. We got a few behind you, but thank you so much for being a testimony of what happened to you. Thank you more than you know. We appreciate you. And we're going to keep talking about it.
And I know you probably don't remember me.
I do. I was just talking about you when I said to the people, we had a sister that had only one sink running. Remember you told us you wasn't using but with one sink? I remember you vividly. All right, I got one more coming in, sis. We appreciate you. Oh, man, I lost the other one. Call back in if you're there. Let's focus, guys, for a moment. It's
recap what she said.
Yeah. Let's recap. Absolutely. It's 4:47, and we gotta land at a certain point, and we cost you a little bit. But this sister is the one that we were talking about, Miss Linda, resident of Jackson. She was the one that I was referencing when I said she was told her bill was $1,000 and she was using one sink plus, right? So you have to understand that your mayor, your city council, Tarek is talking to you today I'm a utility professional, a former director, a former executive. And I'm telling you, as we've been screaming, that you should have been told by your mayor and your city council that you can file a complaint with the PSC, but no one told you that. Why?
Yeah, I got a question, man. I'm just wondering. I hear you, so I understand. I'm not in favor of raising the rates, but how do we as a people know that people are not paying their bills? I mean, how do we defend that? Because if he's looking at statistics and he's looking at everything that he has in front of him, how do we know?
Pay attention to the numbers.
He's lying? I mean, if he has everything in front of him and he's been watching and looking at it over the last 2 years, how do we know that what he's saying is not accurate? It's just a question.
Well, first you just have to thank me, but you can stay on there and take this with me. First, you got to talk to your people, man. You've got to, if you're from outside of Jackson, then I understand it, okay? But if you're inside of Jackson, you just got to talk to your people. If you notice one thing about us here at Make It Make Sense, only reason I can shut people down, I'm not talking about my callers, I'm talking about these folks doing you all wrong, is because I consistently talk to people that tell me. And for example, The sister that you just heard about, she faxed her bill into us. You know how many people have bought me their bills on the street, my brother? Just go out into your community if you live here. And if you don't, just look on Facebook. But if you live here, that's when you can get the most out of it. Talk to the people. Because literally, we haven't had to ask for this data. And we've got a lot of data. Me and KP have gone around and we keep track of it. Because we're going to do something with it.
No. What I'm saying, I don't dispute what you're saying, but what I'm asking you is, how do the people, if he has access to everything that he's seeing, and he makes the claim that people are not paying their bills, how do we just assume that he's lying? I mean, I just know, that we just can't assume he's just making it up. I mean, I'm not. No.
I'm with you, my brother. Listen to how I'm saying this, and I'm saying this with love, and I keep doing that. I don't do any of that shit. We just got to use our brain muscle a little bit. Now, we can lift up bales of hay, right? I'm talking about the brains God gave us. I'm not talking about no extra degree, right? I'm saying that if you sitting in Jackson, and you know good and well, I can't make it on T-Mobile 2 months, and I just paid a payment installment. You know good and well, there's no company in the world, my brother. You almost 60 years old, and I'm being nice, right? You may be older, but you know good and well there's no company in the world that's going to let you get up to 3 years of bills and not cut you off. So move to the side. Hold on, let me finish, brother. Let me finish. Move to the side the people that are stealing electricity by plugging your plug into someone else's. That's not the majority of people. We're not going to play like that with our race. So what I'm saying is, what he's saying can't be true, sir. When you ask me, how do we not take his word for it? Because we have brains. And our brains tell us that companies don't let you use service for 3 years without giving you a bill. So if we know that nobody was getting a bill for 3 years, and if we know that people are getting bills just by talking to the people that are too high, they never use that much water, then the first thing you've got to assume as a black person is, you know what, I'm not a monkey, so if I know that they didn't get bills for years, if I know that people get bills quadruple of what it is, then the first choice is probably, well, they weren't paying, sir, because they didn't get it. So if you need somebody to tell you that, my brother, and I got one more coming and I got to take it, but if we need somebody to tell us that, damn, I keep hanging up on people, then I think that's the problem in itself. Call back in. I'm sorry, I always hang up on people when I try the next call. That's the problem in itself. And I think that we wind right back around to what my brother said in the lift, that what do you think the biggest problem is? I think the biggest problem is people don't know what their options are and what people are really doing. So when you hear that question, that comes from our politicians and our leaders just not giving us any information. Yeah. That's what that comes from.
But I didn't know at first that we didn't even have, what was it? We got, what type of water pipes we had? You said we had? We have different type of water pipes than the regular water pipes. I think you said they was from Germany or something.
Yeah, the caller called in and said they were from Germany, and he was talking about that. I think he was talking about the meters.
He's talking about the meters.
He's talking about the water meters, yeah. Just talking about the quality in there.
I'm saying, how did he figure that out? It's only like a rare percentage of people that know that.
No, that was in the lawsuit. It was in the Simmons lawsuit.
But to your point, KP, this is what our leaders should have told us. Nobody, when you have your full, and I think to the sister that called in saying, why is the city kind of, and I hope that as we land this, I really hope that the focus, and jumping at any point, KP, the focus of this is folks that are just not protecting us.
That's right.
We've got one more time for one more call, guys. I hope this is the one I lost.
What's your name? Since call you on there.
How y'all doing, man? I'm not calling you lost.
Oh, man. It's a pleasure to hear from you still, my brother.
My point is, how is that the judge can make a decision and not give the people 30 days notice of that decision for paying their bills, of giving them the right that they just lost in the opinion that he just made. He should say to everybody in the city of Jackson accomplished that opinion. In the mayor, first-class mayor. So the people be individually, if they want to appeal that decision, I mean, he made a rule that no judge make a decision, and it's not appealable, is it?
No. And so I think the main problem there, and you watch our answers, the main problem there is that your city council, all the members that didn't support, your congressmen, your district representation, when the People's Advocacy Institute, when Mississippi Rapid Response, when the ACLU filed an injunction and said, folks are going to go through just what we're going through now. You want to talk honesty, Jackson? They said folks are going to go through everything we're going through now, and they asked for more transparency into Hennepin and Jackson water. The city council sat quietly. Your leaders sat quietly and didn't support them. So we really, at a certain point, have to start digging up the garden. Because if we understand how we didn't get that transparency in the first place, how we didn't get a third party that could oversee this for our good in the first place, when so many neighborhood organizations were asking for it, then you're going to see the other organizations, the other politicians that were fighting against it. And you know how I can explain to you? Just look at all the folks that stayed quiet while the last administration was removed. Those are generally the people that also stayed quiet while you all got screwed and said nothing to you. Didn't tell you that you could file a complaint with the Public Service Commission. That's what should bother you more, Jackson. And we're winding down here. We appreciate that call. We got it landed, but that's what should anger you all today. What should anger us today is that you just heard your fellow resident call in and say that we told her to file a Public Service Commission complaint. You heard your representation sit in there and say, this is what they said in City Council. Tina Fey, I don't always do that. I watch too much Saturday Night Live when I was young. Tina Clay was the only one that questioned this. That lawyer said, Jackson residents have lost all constitutional protection with this third-party order. That's a lie. And that sister just proved, as I said on this show, that's a lie. And not one of your elected representatives said a word. And don't remember, there wasn't just your city council and mayor in there. There were members of the Senate and of the Congress in there and of the, the different bigger bodies that were in there. Look at your black representatives that were in that city council. How many came on afterwards on their Facebook page and said, hey, hold on a second. Hold on. If you go to the Public Service Commission website, it's got these third parties on there and it still allows you to file something. It just can't regulate the rates necessarily. But if you believe unfair or racial steps are happening that are hurting you and aren't hurting other people, you can still file a complaint. The Keith Stamps came on Vernon Hartley's show and said you should get your mayor to file, your city's attorney to file a rate case, just like Canton did. You know what a rate case would have done? Was hold everything up in limbo. Would have stopped them from being able to just pass over an increase immediately and would have made that increase go under scrutiny and perhaps be overturned.
They didn't tell you for a reason.
They didn't tell you for a reason. They wanted that 1.5 bond paid off, is how it looks to me, and put $20 million on your back. And that's what happened. $20 million's on us per year, and they got the 1.5 bond paid off. So I think that we've got to just say what it is. This is where we're at. What do we do about it, people? You know what to do about it. And we're starting to get more and more aggressive with this.
Stay mad.
Yeah, you know what to stay mad, and we know what to do about it. How do we do it? We'll work it out together, team. Just keep sticking with our Facebook page. Never give all your information out front. Just stay with us, and we'll continue to work our way and work these folks out into the open. And the more we work them out into the open, the more I have faith in you to make that next move. Please understand that. The solution is you. I don't have the grand plan except you. That's our grand plan is you. I go up against any one of these politicians that goes and sits with these other rich white politicians that are hurting you all and hunts with them and camps with them and fishes with them. I don't care if they're going to take away every opportunity that I have in front of me. I don't care if I'm not going to get a burial plot at your church. I don't care if my child's not going to get the opportunity like your child gets it. It's all happening. It's happening. I don't care if my career gets thrown down the toilet. Once you see the truth, God mandates, and I've never tried to preach to you, God mandates that you stay in there, but you got a whole city doing the opposite. And when I say a whole city, a whole group of those leading. And then look on our page, we're going to talk about, as our new chief comes in, we're going to talk about the fact that we have all types of hope. Yeah, we always get hopeful, right? And we still have hope. We welcome everyone with open arms if we think you can help us. And I don't think anything has changed with this chief. But as we watch her get welcomed in the circles that we feel like are leaving us behind, and you look at the documentary, just like John Horn Jackson, go look at the documentary we're going to put up tonight. We've got to make sure we hold people accountable. Those days of just waiting and hoping that the city council, the mayor were doing the best to protect us from an extra $20 million a year. Then we find out afterwards that this system was able to go down to PSC and they wouldn't even file a rate case to stop this. They wouldn't even take a chance on it. Hardly dismissed it. Well, we're not doing that.
Oh, she went under her actions.
No, when Keith Stamps went on Vernon Hartley's show and said, tell the mayor, which the city council can do, introduce at least an ordinance, or the mayor can do it, tell them to start a rate case, open a rate case. Because the third-party manager has taken over, only the city attorney can do it. The residents can't do it anymore. Only the city attorney can do it. And they ignored him. And now we're paying for it. Rate increase went through, $20 million on our back, and the city's got a $1.5 billion. That's crackhead behavior. $1.5 million for $20 million a year. But I guess it's on our back. Just like a crackhead that steals a TV and sells it for $10. It ain't their TV, so I guess they don't care. You done put $20 million on our back per year, and you got your little debt of $1.5 million paid off. So join us tomorrow when we land this plane and talk about the next step. Because we're going to go ahead and hold people accountable for what they're doing in Jackson and Mississippi. We're going to be just all right as long as we don't repeat the same thing next time around. Until next time, for my co-host and myself, Tarek Abdul-Tawwab, and Mr. Wilson across from me, my producer, continue to make it make sense, Jackson. We love you. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same place.